Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. First, I want to thank you so much for watching. Today is a pretty big deal for a lot of people, and I'll explain to you why that is shortly. But you could be doing something else on a Sunday night, and you decided to watch this webinar with me. So I want to say thank you so much for your support, for watching this. And my hope is that we both learn something from this workshop. The title of this workshop is What Moms Teach Their Sons About Dating. Now, you're probably asking, how can a father truly tell a mom what a son could learn from her as regards to dating? And I'll tell you why. I was raised in a single mother home, and I learned a lot of lessons from my mother, both positive and negative, in regards to dating, in regards to relationships. I learned a lot. So this workshop is a culmination of what I've learned in my personal experience, as well as what other young men growing up in single mother homes learned from their mothers as well. Okay, so without further ado, let me just introduce myself for a little bit. Who is Andre D. Harrison? First and foremost, I'm a child of God. Second, I am a proud father of 3 beautiful boys. To the top left of your screen in the yellow shirt, you see my oldest, Isaiah. He is 18 years old. 18 years. Yeah, I have an 18-year-old. My second oldest is the one that looks like little Michael Jackson in the orange shirt. He's Nathaniel. I call him my clone. Out of all my kids, he is most like me. However, that doesn't mean I love him any more than the other 2. He just acts, looks, talks, walks, behaves just like his daddy. And the youngest whippersnapper right there in the blue shirt and the cornrows, he doesn't have those anymore, is Gabriel. He is my firecracker. He is my youngest. He is 8 years old. I neglected to tell you how old Nathaniel was. Nathaniel, my second oldest, is 13. And Gabriel is 8 years old. He's a cutie pie in the blue shirt. He does not have cornrows anymore. And actually, this picture was taken about 3 years ago. So it's a little outdated, but they pretty much still look the same, except Nathaniel is, 2 inches shy of my height. My hope is that my sons outgrow me and that I can look up to them all. My oldest he's 18, Isaiah. He's already got me by 2 inches. So I'm happy about that. Hopefully Nathaniel and Gabriel get me by 4 or 5 inches. I want them to grow much taller than I am. So these are my kids. This is who I live for. Everything I do is for them. Everything I try to accomplish is for them, not just to make them proud of me, but also to set the bar pretty high so that not only do I encourage them to reach that bar, but I can also encourage them to excel far greater than I have ever achieved. So that's my hope. That's my goal. And that's the legacy I want to leave behind for my sons. Who is Andre and what does he do? Well, I work as a fatherhood program coordinator and as a family worker at Head Start. I also had the opportunity to travel, speaking all over. Actually, I've been in different places around the world talking about fatherhood. Well, at least in this hemisphere. And I tell you what, there's nothing that brings me greater joy other than ministering to teenagers than to really talk to fathers and encourage fathers to be better dads so that I can help improve the quality of families in urban communities. That's my heartbeat right now. And that's what I love to do. So I help run fatherhood programs in different agencies. I help them start it and maintain it. And I am also the founder and director of an organization called The Roll Call. You can go to the website that you can see there with the logo of our organization, therollcall.org. Find out a little bit more about The Roll Call, what we do, and how we operate. And if you are watching this and you think that the roll call would be beneficial in your city, send me an email. You can get my email at the end of the slideshow. Okay. Next, I am also an author. This book is called From a Fatherless Father to His Sons. This book is an amazing resource for single mothers because it helps single mothers relate to the challenges that young men face growing up without their fathers. This book is about the lessons that I learned growing up without my father that I teach to my sons and the young men that I mentor. And when I wrote this book with three people in mind. That's the young man growing up without a father. It's an easy read. I heard it's a good book. Not just because I wrote it. Other people have told me it was a good book. But young men can read this and really, in a first person type of authorship, receive guidance from a man who cares, like a father figure. Single mothers can read this and receive guidance on how to approach certain situations and in regards to their sons, and also to absentee fathers who have been absent in the lives of their children. My hope is to connect and reconnect the father with the child, if there's opportunity to do so. This is my heartbeat. This is what I love to do. And our mission at the Roll Call is to eradicate fatherlessness. We believe strong fathers build strong families, and strong families build strong communities. So we're trying to make fathers as strong as they can be. And I am not exempt. I am probably the biggest client for the Roll Call. I'm not just the director, the founder. I'm also its biggest client. All right. So all the resources I find for fathers all over that I pass on, I try to apply it myself in my life. Okay. Now, the Super Bowl is today. I know some of you are probably watching this and saying, yeah, Andre, I'm trying to support you, but the Super Bowl is in less than an hour and a half. So Dre, you got to speed this up. I promise you, we will be out of here within the hour. By 6 o'clock, you'll be getting your dip ready, your chips ready, and rooting for Cam Newton to beat the Panthers to beat the Denver Broncos, or Cam Newton to beat Peyton Manning. Either way, no, I'm a New York Giants fan, and it would be nice to see Eli's brother get that ring. But there's something about Cam Newton I like. The younger, the young guy who is excited about life and excited about winning, who gets fined every time he throws a touchdown football in the stands to a young kid. I gotta like him. He's a likable kind of guy. All right. Now, men, if you're watching this isn't particularly for you, but you can learn from what I will be sharing today in regards to this topic in this webinar. So I do want to thank you guys for watching, and I promise you, you will be back to the Super Bowl as soon as possible. Now, mom is the first person that the son bonds with after birth. Now, this is in regards to the mother-son relationship. You know, to a mother, a son is just special. A son is just that air. There's something very special about a mother and a son's relationship. It's indescribable, but it's extremely special. And I do want to share this to you moms out there. One thing that I respect highly is the fact that you guys can house life inside you. That means you guys can actually nurture life inside of you. And that's something that us men will never have the chance to experience. Never at all. So, men, if you're watching, if you have an issue honoring and respecting the mother of your child, just understand this. She is able to do something that we can never experience. Not once can we ever experience. And to be honest with you, not once will any of us ever want to experience. Let's be honest. Not one of us and not one man that I know want to experience childbirth unless they are on the sidelines holding mom's hand. We don't want to do that. However, women have the ability to house life inside them. So if anything, if nothing, that is one reason why they deserve respect. That is one reason why they deserve honor. And in regards to closeness, mothers tend to generally develop a closeness with their children even before the child is born, and that's because they have the opportunity to nurture life inside them. So, mom, I respect you. Mom, you are to be honored. You are to be respected. And I thank you for being able to endure the 9 to 10 months pregnancy and then the hours of labor in regards to delivering a child. But back to a son and a mother's relationship. A son is like the mother's prince. There is something extremely special between a mother and a son love. It's hard to explain. It really is. However, it's one extremely beautiful relationship. Okay. However, it could be beneficial to your son or detrimental to your son, depending on how you raise and how you form that relationship with your son. Mom is the first nurturer and the teacher of our sons. Mom is the initial source of survival for the son. Without mom in the first few months, the son could probably not survive as well as he can with mom being there. So the son already sees mom as a source of survival from the time they're born. They see mom as a nurturer and a teacher from the time they're born. And mom is the first person that the son bonds with right after birth. From the time they're born, the first thing that the son will do is nurse and get close to mom, because mom has a need, right? Or the son has a need that only mom can meet. Dad can't meet that need. Dad can't nurse the baby. They can use a bottle. But even with nursing, there's a level of closeness. There's a level of intimacy there for the son that mom is able to meet, not just through nurturing, but also through feeding and being a source of survival for the son. Next, sons are dependent on mom at birth. Sons are a source of pride for mom. When a mom has a son, they feel happy, they feel proud, they feel like they have the opportunity to be loved unconditionally. So sons can pour out a level of unconditional love from mom or to mom. And some moms feel this when they give birth to a son. They finally are able to say to themselves, here's a young man, here's a male who is able to love me despite all my flaws. Mom can also depend on the son, especially if there isn't a man in the mom's life. And this is where mom have to be careful, because depending on the son to meet the needs of a man too early could really be hurtful to the young man's development. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we progress. Now let's talk about how children learn, okay? They are little copycats. They are always imitating parents, always imitating mommy, okay? Now, I've been told that I've cursed as a kid, okay? But I remember one time we were at my godmother's house, and my godbrother Jamal was about maybe two and a half. And we're watching this movie. And in this movie, they are cursing and carrying on in this movie. And I remember Jamal jumping up and shouting, "Oh, sugar honey iced tea." But he actually said those words. And we all jumped up laughing. And it was funny because all he was doing was imitating and copying what he heard. Okay? Children do that. Children copy, they imitate. So one of the first people that they tend to imitate is mommy. They're little copycats. So whatever you do, they're probably going to try to do. They are also extremely nosy. How do we know this? Mom, you can relate. You could be sitting on your couch doing absolutely nothing. The second that phone rings, you answer the phone, all of a sudden, your kids are in your face. Not just to annoy you because somebody's on the phone. They want to be nosy. They want to know what you're talking about. So they're extremely nosy. They are always in mommy's business. Always. So they are little nosy critters. Next, they're leeches. They're little leeches. And yes, I said it, leeches. Always leeching off of you, mom. Always. They always need something. They need money for this. They need food for that. They need clothes for this. They need shoes for that. They're extremely, extremely needy. Very needy. However, as moms, we know that you are a source of a supplier at this particular moment in their life as they grow. So yeah, they're going to need you in their life. They're going to need you for certain things. So yes, they could be little leeches, but that's because that's what they need to be at that particular moment. Children learn in every situation. They see what you do, they hear what you say, they do what you do, and they say what you say. They say what you say. Even me, right? There's times when I'm older now, and I may say some things to my kids, then I think to myself, wow, I sound just like my mother, And it's just that I was taught that because I learned it just by seeing and watching and seeing her do things and watching what she does and hearing how she says certain things. And I find myself in situations where I act just like her. All right. So children, they see what you do, they hear what you say, and they do what you do, and then they say what you say. And this goes the same with our sons. And you're probably thinking, well, what does this have to do with sons? We're going to get there. Please bear with me. We're just talking about laying the groundwork and talking about how children learn in everyday situations. So when they're home, you may not be teaching them how to read or write. You may not be teaching them the latest math questions. However, everything that you do, everything that you say is still teaching them. They're still learning exactly what to do, exactly what to say from watching and hearing you. So it's extremely important that you understand that. Now, sons take learning from their mothers much deeper. From the womb, they learn how to behave with a girl. From the time they can comprehend, they learn how to interact with females by learning how to interact with their mom. And from the time they are preteen, they learn how to like a girl by how they like their mom. So you may not consider these things, but it's extremely true. How they treat women, how they act toward women, how they speak toward women, it will be extremely reflective on how they act and what they learn from you as mom. From the womb, they learn how to behave with a girl. From the time they can comprehend or understand, they learn how to interact with females. And all this is sort of indoctrinated into them from the time they're born. And from the time they are preteen, they learn how to act and like and talk to a girl. So moms can also cripple their sons in regards to this. Okay. One of the things that moms can do to cripple their sons is shut him down when he shares his feelings. This is extremely, extremely important because men are raised to believe that they can't share their feelings, they can't be emotional, they can't cry. And there are some women out there that tell them to do what you guys see in the second bullet, to man up. So whenever a young man shows any kind of emotion, or your son, you tell him to man up. Don't cry. You're a boy. You're a man. You can't do that stuff. First off, understand this, moms. Your son has emotions because God created him to have emotions. Now, how he handles his emotion could use some coaching, but never should you tell him to bottle up those feelings because he's going to do that in a relationship. And then eventually he's going to explode. That's why some of our teenage boys, when they get to become 14 and 15, tend to rebel because mom didn't allow her son an outlet to share his feelings. So now he's a preteen going through all these hormones, these emotions that he can't deal. He's going to rebel. He's going to be disrespectful because now all those bent up feelings, those built up feelings that's been bottled up from the time he was maybe 3 to the time he's 14 is now coming out. Extremely, extremely dangerous. So please don't shut him down when he shares his feelings. He needs you to listen. He needs you to be there, to be a comfort, a source of just listen to him. Don't ever tell him to man up when he cries. Find out why he's crying. Speak to him. Help him deal with those emotions. Talk down to him and curse at him. Never, never, never do this. Never. Talk down to your son. Curse at him. Tell him he's good for nothing. Things like this only cripples your son, especially when in regards to how he treats women, because he'll never learn to trust a female. He'll get into a relationship thinking that he needs to mistreat them just so that he can feel protected. Always giving into what he wants. Some of us may consider boys who love their moms mama's boys. And then some of us moms could give in to our sons at every whim. Every time they ask for something, we say yes. Every time they want to do something, we say yes. Listen, you don't always have to say yes to your sons. Always, that's not necessary. Don't always give in to what he wants, because in a relationship, he's going to think that it's okay to get whatever he wants. When she says no, no, there is no no. You're going to do whatever I want because that's how I was raised. My mother did everything for me. Now you're going to do everything for me and you're going to like it. So be careful. And also, putting him before your husband. Now, disclaimer. If you are married to a very good man, a very good husband, a good provider, somebody that loves your kids, never do you put your son before your husband. Ever. Okay? Your husband has to come first, especially if he's a good father that's providing for the family and being a good role model for your sons, whether he's a stepdad or the biological dad, whatever it is. And I'm not talking about boyfriend. Unless he puts a ring on your finger, unless he commits to you and your family, don't you ever put a man in front of your son, because he's going to learn from that also. He's going to think it's okay not to marry a young lady. Okay? Now, some of you may be watching this and think that marriage is just a piece of paper. That's your opinion, and I respect it. But from my point of view, I think commitment is extremely important, and marriage is a culmination of that commitment to somebody. So you can have your view. Here is my viewpoint. Okay? Before you put any man before your son or your children, you make sure that they are trustworthy, that they love your kids as their own. That way you can put him before your children, because you can trust him with your children. But never, if you have a good man in your life, put your son before your husband. It's going to create contention in the home. He's going to be confused about his role. Your husband's going to be confused about his role. So you make sure that you never do that, okay? But if he's not a good husband and you need to protect your kids from your husband, you do whatever it takes to protect your children, okay? Mothers set the tone for their son's self-esteem and self-confidence. Mothers set the tone for their son's dependency level on a woman. Now, this is important because, like I said before, you don't want your sons to be completely dependent on any one female. You don't. Okay? You got to be able to teach them a healthy level of dependency on you. So when he gets older and he gets into a relationship, he doesn't have an unhealthy dependency level on the lady he's with, because that'll put unneeded strain on her as a woman. Next, their son's attachment style. There is a book by Dr. Emil Levine and Rachel Heller. It's called Attached. It's a pretty good book. And in this book, they describe 3 attachment styles: the secure attachment style, the anxious attachment style, and the avoidant attachment style. Now, these attachment styles are developed over time. It's developed through initial relationships from with children. For instance, I'll give you an example that they use in the book. A mother drops off her child at daycare, right? And the child notices that the child is okay in the room, in the classroom, while mom is there. But once mom is gone, he starts to cry. But when she returns to the classroom, he goes back to her, and eventually will go back to playing around, and then will eventually get comfortable after she leaves. He just starts developing a secure attachment style. Like, mommy's always going to be there. Right? But the anxious attachment style is sort of like, in regards to relationships, and this is how it's built from a child. When you sense somebody becoming distant, you become anxious. You become excited. You want to know things. You want to ask questions, and you could probably make the situation a little worse than it already is. And sons can develop this through a relationship with their mom. If mom is not showing them the proper attachments, not showing them the proper relationship, or interacting with them the proper way. One way you can develop a child with secure attachments is to be there for them, to love them, but allow them to be able to do things on their own. And anxious would be sort of like a mom doing everything for that child, to the point where they can't do anything for themselves, and they can't be self-sufficient at all. And then the avoidant is the type of child that sort of like avoids any type of relationship. They don't mind closeness, but when it gets too close, it gets too intimate, they run away. And this probably could happen if mom doesn't do anything at all for the child, and the child is extremely independent and don't need anybody. So that could sort of result in a child having an avoidant attachment style. My recommendation to you is to get this book. It's called Attached by Dr. Amir Levine. To the right of the screen, you see the arrows pointing there. I would recommend going on Amazon.com, getting the book, download it on Kindle. Definitely read that book. It's a really good book. Mothers should be an example of the type of woman they want their sons with. Chances are he will end up with someone just like you. Someone who behaves just like you or treats him just like you treated him. You should treat your husband, boyfriend, or son's father how you would want your son treated by a lady. Now, here's the thing, and let me say this, because you're probably thinking right now, well, my son's father, my baby daddy, is not good for anything. He don't do nothing or whatever. Okay, if you make a young man's father out to be good for nothing, your son already has a connection to that good for nothing father. So he's going to want to be just like his father regardless. And what's going to happen is that if you keep embedding into your son's head that your father's good for nothing, you know what's going to happen? He's going to start thinking he's good for nothing also, just like his daddy. All right, you don't want to build that kind of legacy inside of him. One thing my mother never did was down talk my father in front of me and my sister. Not once did she ever do that. And maybe she probably had good reason to, but not once did she ever tell us, excuse me, anything negative about our father at all. We didn't know our father growing up, but never did she talk bad about him. Okay. So treat your husband, boyfriend, or son's father how you would want your son's girlfriend, your son's wife, the mother of your son's child to treat your son. He will consider it normal if he is mistreated because mom mistreats the men in her life. Think about that. Think about that. And listen, ladies out there, I don't want to hear, well, some men don't know how to deal with strong characters. Some of you are extremely, quote unquote, strong because you're extremely insecure. That's why. You may not like this. You may not like what I'm saying. Okay. But you can't mistake a strong mentality and a strong attitude for insecurity. There's a big difference, and it may look the same, but it really isn't. It really isn't the same. So if you can be strong and down talk the men in your life because they can't handle the truth or they can't handle, maybe you should reevaluate how you say certain things, because how you say things will determine how strong you really are, how insecure you really are. Now, this is extremely deep, and I just got this. Proverbs 31, an amazing scripture. Whether you're a Christian or not, a very amazing scripture with a lot of depth in it. Mothers should speak to their sons about what their sons should be looking for in a woman. Now, many of us may think that's the father's job, but Proverbs 31 sort of disproves that. Proverbs 31 is one of those scriptures in church and Christendom that women go to sort of look in the mirror and determine whether or not they're a good woman. I'm going to read the Proverbs 31 in its entirety, so please bear with me. You can read along with me. The words of King Lemuel, an oracle that his mother taught him. What are you doing, my son? What are you doing, son of my womb? What are you doing, son of my vows? Do not give your strength to women, your ways to those who destroy kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine or for rulers to take strong drink, lest they drink and forget what has been decreed and pervert the rights of all the afflicted. Give strong drink to those who is perishing, and wine to those in bitter distress. Let them drink and forget their poverty and remember their misery no more. Open your mouth for the mute, for the rights of all who are destitute. Open your mouth, judge righteously, defend the rights of the poor and needy. An excellent wife, who can find? This is deep, guys. Bear with me. Listen to what she's teaching to him. An excellent wife, who can find? She is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does him good, not harm, and the days of her life, all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax and works with willing hands. She is like the ships of the merchant. She brings her food from afar. She rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and portions for her maidens. She considers a field and buys it. Like, she considers it. She doesn't just buy anything. She uses wisdom. She considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hand, she plants a vineyard. She dresses herself with strength and makes her arms strong. She perceives that her merchandise is profitable. Her lamp does not go out at night. She puts her hands to the distaff, and her hands hold the spindle. She opens her hand to the poor and reaches out her hand to the needy. She is not afraid of snow for her household, for all of her household are clothed in scarlet. She makes bed coverings for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them. She delivers sashes to the merchants, strength to the dignity of her clothing, and she laughs at the time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She looks well to the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many women have done excellently, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her the fruit of your hands, and let her works praise her in the gates. Here are some lessons that we can learn from Proverbs 31. Okay? Proverbs 31 is a teaching from a mother to her son. Oh, gosh. Are you listening, moms? Proverbs 31 is a teaching from a mother to her son. It is mom teaching her son how to look for a woman. Mom painted a picture of what she believes a virtuous woman is, and not simply what she looks like. Mom's lessons include faith and reasoning to find a mate. This is deep. It wasn't dad teaching him how to find the right woman. It wasn't dad. It was mom. That's so deep. Mom explains the type of character that makes a virtuous wife. And in a nutshell, she teaches him what to look for in a wife, in a woman. And mom, that is your job. So not only will your son receive hints on how he behaves with a woman from how he behaves with you, how you behave with other men in your life, but also by what you speak to him and what you teach to him. You as a mother ought to instill, and may I even say indoctrinate, the idea of what a good woman is in your son from the time he's a child, by the way you behave toward him, by the way you behave toward other men, and what you say to him about what you say in regards to other women and what he should be looking for. Many women use this to measure if they are a virtuous woman. However, this scripture is actually meant to teach young men how to find a good woman to make his wife, and it was taught by mom, not by dad. Now, what about dad? Dad's role is to confirm the lessons mom teaches. That is to affirm a close relationship between mom and dad. That means that dad should be encouraging mom and dad time, mom and son time. And he should allow mom to speak into his son's life in regards to what it takes to find, or what it is to find a good woman. He is to confirm all that and then affirm their relationship. Now, where do moms go from here? And we're almost done. Bear with me. We're almost done. You're about to get to that Super Bowl food, the wings, the buffalo wings and all that. Go Panthers. I'm about to dabble in them too. But where do moms go from here? Be the woman you want your son. Be the woman that you want for your son. Treat the men in your life the way you want your son treated. You do not want your son to be with a woman that you treated. You don't want your son to be with a woman that treats him poorly because he's accustomed to that by watching you treat men in your life poorly. You don't want that. And talk to your sons about what to look for in a woman. That is what you moms need to be doing for your sons. That is how they learn from mom in regards to dating. I want to thank you so much for joining me. I got a couple more things I want to go through. Okay. We've been in this now for 35 minutes. Thank you so much. Just a couple more things I want to go through. Okay. If you are in the New York City area and you want to attend a very good family-focused conference, please take a look at this flyer. Saturday, April 9th from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Roll Call, my organization, in cooperation with the Staten Island Borough President, James Otto, and Healthy Families Staten Island, we are putting together the New York City Fatherhood and Family Enrichment Conference. It'll be held at Port Richmond High School in Staten Island, New York, and it is absolutely free. Free workshops, free keynote speakers, free resources, and free food. We are providing lunch for you guys, and it's catered, so it's going to be really good. So make sure you guys come to that. If you would like for us to continue producing more videos like this, more workshops, more webinars, please consider making a donation. It helps us produce free webinars, videos, and live seminars for families in urban communities by making a donation. So please do that. You can go to GoFundMe.com/TheRollCallVideos. That's ROLECALLVIDEOS. TheRollECALLVIDEOS. And every donation, $50 or over, will include a free signed copy of my book, From a Fatherless Father to His Sons. Here's a copy of my book. If you don't want to make a donation, but you would like to pick up the book, you can go to Amazon.com, search From a Fatherless Father to His Sons, and get the book on Amazon.com. It'll ship to you in about 2 or 3 days, all right? After you buy it, please do me a promise. Let me know what you think of it by writing a review on Amazon.com. And this is how you can contact me if you would like me to come and speak at your organization, if you would like to give me a call if you're having a situation with your son, if you are a father looking to reconnect with your children, go to my website, give me a call. And also, if you look here, therollcall.org is the website for my organization. And Reality Dad TV is what you're watching right now. That has different shows, different trainings, different webinars. And me and my kids do something also. So you can go there, take a look at our videos, and so have you. If you want to send me an email, you can do so at therollcall@gmail.com. Now, I'm going to the next slide. But at any time, you can go back and watch this on demand to get all this information again. All right. And if you want to stay in touch with me through social media, you can do so by going to facebook.com/therollcall, or you can go to facebook.com/author Andre D. Harrison. You can find me on twitter.com/Andre D. Harrison. And you can go to youtube.com/answering the roll call for more videos with the roll call. Now for Q&A. I'm not sure how many of you guys are watching or how many of you guys have questions, all right? But if you look down, right where that arrow is, it says click here. If you click right there, I will be answering some of your questions and your comments, what so have you, so that we could interact, because I want to be able to interact with you guys. So if you have any questions, any comments, please submit them right now. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut this off. I do want to thank you guys so much for watching the webinar. Okay, it's the end of the slideshow. I am going to end the screen share. And here I am. So some of you guys are watching this and wondering, what does Andre look like? There I am, and that's what I look like. I think I look a little red too. So let me see if I can adjust the white balance a little bit. So how is everybody doing? So if you have any questions, any comments, now is the time to submit it. All right, we can start talking and getting into what it is that you would like to know, what it is that you would like to talk about, and that's why I'm here. Some of us are looking anxiously to get back to the Super Bowl, and that's completely fine by me. So if you have any questions, any comments, hit me up. Now's a good time. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm logging into the website just to make sure that the chat is working properly. This is something new that we're doing. It's something new. Let's see if it's working. Let's see. Let's see. My mother wanted me to say that she's watching. Hello, Mom. Terrell, how are you? good to. I'm so happy that you're able to watch. So happy that you're able to watch. And I wonder, did you hear what I said about you, Mom? Hope it wasn't offensive. No, I'll never offend you here on this. I'm glad you're listening, Mom. I'm really happy that you're listening. So, do you guys have any questions or any comments? I'm here right now. We're just going to have a chat session. If not, then I want to make sure that you guys get back to the Super Bowl because this is pretty exciting. This may be Peyton Manning's last Super Bowl. So, it's something that we're definitely going to want to watch. So, any questions at all? All right. Well, I'm going to end it here then. I do want to thank everybody for watching. And please, you can do me a favor by going back to this link, right? If you click on the YouTube icon at the bottom of this video, if you click there, it'll take you to the YouTube page. I ask that you copy and paste that link that comes up and share it on all social media formats so that we can have the opportunity to allow others to be able to watch this as well. All right. So thank you so much for watching. This is Andre D. Harrison. I'm the director and founder of the Roll Corp, and this is reality.tv.com. So thank you so much for watching. God bless you. Have a good night, and go Panthers. All right. Bye, guys.